Amen. So today's lesson, again, we're going into the feast of the memorial blowing of the trumpets. So we're going to be dealing with blowing of the trumpets. But not only are we dealing with blowing of the trumpet, we're going to somewhat get an understanding of what the trumpets was for. Right? It's not just something that we just is in the Bible and we read about. There's a purpose behind why we had the trumpets and why blowing of the trumpets was very important. All right. All right. So it's important, for us to get the understanding of what it's about, where it's from, and continue generation after generation to adhere to them and to teach our children what they are and what the purpose of them for. Right now, we are in a time where we need to be sounding the trumpet. A lot of us, a lot of times, we just going through our daily walk, our daily journeys or tasks or whatever it is that we, see ourselves doing or are doing, to maintain. But it's time for us to start blowing the trumpet. It's been time for us to be blowing the trumpet and warning our people because destruction is at hand. It's right around the corner. And a lot of people are not, focused in at this time on seeing that. Things are happening under our breath or right under our noses, and people are more concerned about, Nikes and other things of that nature, right? So the secular things going on in the world, that stuff doesn't matter. We need to be paying attention to prophecy and why a feast like this feast day coming up is very important. We are in the time of feast days, the season of our feast, right? So it's important for us to take each one of these feast days that we're dealing with, be it the Holy Convocation feast days, or be it our changing of season holy days or new moons. We need to be paying attention to those times because the scripture gives us understanding on everything that we're going to be dealing with in these last days. So we're going to read about that and get understanding on that on today. Come? Amen, amen. So I'm going to start with the commentary and I'm going to turn it over to our brothers. Good to see you, brother. Pull out. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So every year we have a feast of blowing of trumpets. Thank the Most High we have been given the proper days for the feast and can take this time to remember the significance of the past feast. We are also to understand the significance of the trumpets going forward and how they link into prophecy. Here's a brief lesson in reference to the holy day. We're going to start in the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verses 23 through 25. I'm going to turn it over to the brothers.
We're in the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verses 23 through 25. Verse 23. And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, In the 7th month, in the first day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, and holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High.
Made by fire unto the Most High. So what's that offering made by fire unto the Most High? Food. The dinner that we're going to be eating. That's the sacrifice, right? So let's keep moving. Go ahead and read commentary.
Every year we had a feast of the blowing of trumpets and blew them to gather the people together. These trumpets were also used in time of war and to signal the movement of the community in the wilderness.
Now, again, I call this feast the warning feast, or the feast of preparation, the feast of, what warning? Best way you could put it, feast of warning. So that's what we're dealing with. Through scriptures, we're going to get understanding as to that is what the trumpets were used for in the beginning, right? For gathering, for warning, and also, preparation for war. All right, so Numbers chapter 10. 1 through 10.
We're in the book of Numbers, chapter 10, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Make thee 2 trumpets of silver, of a whole piece shalt thou make them.
So those silver trumpets that you see our brothers blowing, they carry great significance. It's a reason why a lot of them would prefer those silver rather than brass, or nowadays they have the plastic, right? So in those days, they made trumpets of silver. Go ahead, bro.
That thou mayest use them for the calling of the assembly and for the journeying of camps.
Mm-hmm. So y'all see some of the things that they were used for? Go ahead.
And when they shall blow with them, all the assembly shall assemble themselves to thee at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation.
Amen. Mm-hmm.
And if they blow but with one trumpet, Then the princes, which are heads of thousands of Israel, shall gather themselves unto thee.
So through this understanding that we're beginning to receive, it's going to come a time, again, that we're going to be in that wilderness. And it's going to be brothers and sisters spread about doing different things of work. And it's going to come a time where, the only way to reach each other is not going to be through cell phones, text message, pagers, if you will. Any of that. It's going to be back to the old way, the trumpets. So it's important that we understand and begin now, especially as a tribe. I'm calling this a tribe, if everybody's going to follow me. I'm going to call this a tribe because when it comes time for us to move, we're going to have to move together. What do most tribes do? They move together. They move together, but they have an order amongst them to allow for everybody in that tribe to be in a place of safety, right? Or be safe. So it's things with a tribe that we have to teach each other that when time comes, we'll know the signal for this, the signal for that. I remember in, I forget the book name, but Elder was speaking on it a while back where when the 10 tribes came over here to the Americas, they had signals that they used for each other, right? It would be, okay, we know you're in this area, but when it was time for us to speak to you, sometimes they didn't use the trumpet. Sometimes they used smoke signals. Right? So these things, we're going to have to go back, but we got to learn that, which is why tabernacles is important, right? This gives us 7 whole days, 8, 9 days, if you will, some, to be able to teach and understand those things so that we can begin to practice those things, right? Not just around the feast day time, but throughout the year. We need to start practicing those things because time is getting really close. And it's going to become a time where, we're going to have to prepare ourselves to journey about it here. Wherever here may be for each and every one of us. But we're going to move together. And in moving together, we have to be on one accord when it comes to gathering, when it comes to assembling at the congregation, when it comes to, it's danger coming. We're going to have to know those sounds. It's just like in military. When things happen, they have different sounds that they blow, right? Certain times of the day, they play the reveille. Certain times of the day, they play, what's the one in the morning? That's reveille? And taps, right? So they know the difference. So it's just the same for us. We're going to have to know these things and practice these things as a tribe, right? Because eventually, we are going to have to move. And in us moving, in order to meet up with our other brothers and sisters, we're going to have to be moving on one accord. So these trumpets and these sounds and different signals that we put forth are going to be important for us to keep us all on the right track, all right? Y'all understand that? Pick up
Verse 5, when ye blow an alarm, then the camps that lie on the east part shall go forward. Mm-hmm. When ye blow an alarm the second time, then the camps that lie on the south side shall take their journey. They shall blow an alarm for their journeys.
Y'all see that? So it's going to be important for us to understand that, right? How to remove each other, how to get each other going in the right directions and stand on one accord in doing it at the same time, all right? Keep reading, brother.
Verse 7, but when the congregation is to be gathered together, ye shall blow, but ye shall not sound an alarm.
All right, so it's a difference. We got to know that, right? We're going to have to know these things. All right, go ahead, bro.
Verse 8, and the sons of Aaron, the priest, shall blow with the trumpets, and they shall be to you for an ordinance forever throughout your generations. Mm-hmm. And if ye go to war in your land against the enemy that oppresseth you, then ye shall blow an alarm with the trumpets, and ye shall be remembered before the Lord your God, and ye shall be saved from your enemies.
All right, so we're going to need to know that. That's an alarm there that the Most High will answer. So we're going to need to know and understand how to practice and put these things forth, right?
Also in the day of your gladness, and in your solemn days, and in the beginnings of your months, ye shall blow with the trumpets over your burnt offerings, and over the sacrifices of your peace offerings, that they may be to you for a memorial before your God. I am the Lord your God.
So we're going to practice this today. Before we eat any of the burnt offerings, which is what they are, that's what we're going to do. We're going to blow the horn. We're going to blow the trumpet, right? So that the Most High understand that we're operating in the same vein and same time frame that He is in the heavens, all right? So that's what we're going to do today. So one of you brothers, get your lungs together. You can take the horn, go outside and practice. Go ahead on. That's right. All right. Let's keep reading.
These things had purpose within the community, However, today some of us blow the trumpets in commemoration of those ordinances. The trumpets functioned as a sound to gather the people or to warn them of an impending war. We also are commanded to warn the people today to gather together as if we were to function in the same purpose as that trumpet.
So what's the loudest trumpet right now? We are. Us. Our voices. Right? Because you can't walk around blowing horns and trumpets in people's ears nowadays thinking you're teaching them something and pulling them out the fire. You can't do that. So we are the trumpet today, right? So we got to be loud like a trumpet and giving our brothers and sisters this word so that they'll hear it and heed the warning that we're giving to them. So it's important for us to understand the relationship between us and this memorial of blowing the trumpet, right? It's to warn, but it's to also pull our brothers and sisters out of their sin. Let's read Isaiah 58:1. Everyone knows this one. Go ahead, bro.
We're in the book of Isaiah, chapter 58, verse 1. Cry out loud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgression, and the house of Jacob their sins.
Amen. That's what we're supposed to do. Hosea 8:1.
The book of Hosea, chapter 8, verse 1. Set the trumpet to thy mouth. He shall come as an eagle against the house of the Lord, because they have transgressed my covenant and trespassed against my law.
So we are to be warning our brothers and sisters, sparing not, giving them understanding of the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments, but also warning them that are still operating in sin, that if they don't change, that this destruction that the Most High has given us in Hosea 8:1 will come upon them. So we have to be the warning. We have to be letting people know in these last and evil days. Go ahead, read your commentary, bro.
We are to alert and make a distinct sound in the ears of our people so that they know the way to go. That distinct sound is the true word of the Father, which is the doctrine Christ brought forth.
Amen. So we got to teach that. That's what we ought to be given. That's why it's important for us not to, cower away when we're dealing with, these preachers and the preachers and their, what you call apostles that they have running around teaching the same doctrine. Because just like we are to be children of the light, that same concept flows in false doctrine churches as well. What their pastors are teaching them, they go forth and teach others. So it's going to be important for us not to be afraid when those people come, but to give them that distinct sound that sets us apart from them and others that are operating or transgressing thy law. So share this word, share this gospel. It's very important, right? It's very important in these last days. Hebrews 10:1-5.
We're in the book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verses 1-5. Verse 1. For the law, having a shadow of good things to come, and nothing, very image of things, can never those sacrifices which they offered year by year continually make the comers thereunto perfect.
Let's read that again, because a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people are still holding dear to sacrificing, right? And thinking that, the savory meats or the incense that they burn, the Most High is accepting those things. But through Christ, he has given us understanding that, go ahead and read again.
For the law, having a shadow of good things to come.
What's the shadow of good things to come? Anybody? What you think? Anybody? The good things, right? Good things. One of the good things that we should understand when it comes to the law being a foreshadow. If you're operating in the spirit, the law is what to you? If you're operating with love, love is doing what? It's conquering the law, right? So when it says it's a shadow of good things to come, if you understand what it's expressing to you, because if you're doing the things the Most High asks you to do, the law is what to you? Righteousness. It's righteousness, but what is it to you? Because you're doing the right thing. So you don't have to worry about, because if you read the law, a lot of the law gives you what you can and you cannot do, right? So if you're doing his will, then the law is what to you? It's there, it's positive, it's something that you always need, but you don't have to worry about what? The judgment of the law. You're fulfilling the law by doing these things. So the shadow of things to come is, think of this. When you're in the kingdom, are you going to be operating based on that law? everybody will be operating in the spirit of the Most High. No man will teach another man anything, because all of us will be operating in that full vein that the Most High had from the time he created Adam, right? So for a shadow of things to come, we don't have to look over our shoulder. Did I mess up? Because you won't think to mess up, right? You won't think to, sin. You won't think to, covet after this woman. Right? You won't think to, covet after your neighbor's house, or you won't steal, you won't kill. None of these things will mean anything to us, because all of us will be operating in the spirit of the Most High. Period. So it's a shadow of things to come, giving us freedom. Right? Giving us freedom. We go to Romans where it talks about what Paul is speaking. Right? He says, without the law, I was sinning. But when the law came, what happened? He died. Because he realized that he was things in his life that he was doing wrong, that he was doing against the Most High, transgressing his law. So each and every one of us are aiming or gearing ourselves towards making it to the kingdom. Yes, we got to obey those laws now. We have to do everything that the law, statutes, and commandments that were given to us says. But in that kingdom, what are we going to be operating as? Spirit beings. So as spirit beings, we not going to have to deal or worry in the law, because none of us will have that transgression within our hearts. Right? We'll all be operating righteously. There will be no more guile in the lands. There will be no iniquity in the land. We will all be operating righteously. All right? So that's the shadow of things to come. Keep reading verse 2.
Hebrews 10:2. For then would they not have ceased to be offered? Because that the worshipers, once purged, should have had no more conscience of sin.
Now understand that, right? Sacrificing was only supposed to be a one-time thing. Initially, right? It's only supposed to be a one-time thing, right? Because once you sacrifice, it was supposed to do what? Change your conscience, right? Make you, therefore, want to do the right thing before the Most High, so you don't have to go through that process again, right? That was what it was supposed to be for. But within the law, you have things that, what we call loopholes within the law. What's one of the loopholes that our people dealt with? I mean, that wasn't in the law, but that's what they did. What's some of the stuff? When you sinned, you had to do what? You had to sacrifice something. Some laws you had to bathe a certain kind of way. Some laws you had to burn a turtle dove. Some laws you had to, sacrifice a lamb or a cattle. All these different things, right? So these were what we consider to be what I consider to be loopholes. Let me say it like that. Because if I walked in sin, and I knew that it was supposed to be a remedy, what would I do? And continue to do that thing over and over again, right? Without really worrying about the consequences, because as long as I do what he's saying, burning those sacrifices, what do I feel like I am? Right, free. It's just like you go nowadays. You go to these Catholic churches or whatnot. People do all this sin. They go to the Catholic church and they want to sit in the confessional. They sit in the confessional, and what does the Catholic priest do? Forgives them for their sins. So they walk out thinking they're free. So what did that make them feel like? Oh, I can do whatever I want. I can give y'all an example. How many people in here watch Power? I know people watch. Don't front. Yeah, so take example, Tommy. Tommy is one of the worst ones on the whole show. But Tommy, if you've been watching for these seasons, he always seemed to go to the Catholic priest to confess his sins. But as soon as he confessed his sins, what did he do? But who was helping him? The priest, right? So that same concept was taking place even in those days, right? Well, even our priests were operating in iniquity. So how are we going to be any better? So that's the same thing that's happening now, where our priests, our people are operating in 100% sin, and we're putting forth sacrifices or finding the ways that we can somewhat clear our conscience. But the Most High said those things never could clear your conscience. Those things never could remove sin from you, because the first time you did it and you sacrificed, that was supposed to have been it. But our people didn't want to hear that. Our people wanted to continue in sin, continue to do those things that was contrary to the laws of the Most High. So keep reading.
Hebrews chapter 10, verse 3. But in those sacrifices, there is a remembrance again made of sins every year.
Every year. So when you look at these feast days that we do, right, we a lot of times had to do different types of sacrifices, right? And especially at Day of Atonement, when you You fast. You know, you put forth different sacrifices because you break your fast with a whatever you were going to eat. So whatever animal that is that you were going to sacrifice to the Most High, you sacrificed it, right? So that reminds you every year, I can't do the same sins that I did last year. I got to do better. But what usually would happen? They would just continue to sin. So yearly our sins will be reminded because of these sacrifices that we deal with, right? So the Most High says what? Keep reading.
For it is not possible that the blood of bulls and of goats should take away sins.
It was never possible. It was always about our hearts. It was always about our conscience, which is synonymous, right? We were always supposed to just go through this one time. But we, as a people, was given, the opportunity, or was given the law, and in the law, it was things that we allowed ourselves to magnify. Okay, well, if you saying if I do this sin, I'll just put this up. Okay, well, I'll just put that up. And like the brother said, I'll store me up some, because I know I'm probably going to sin again. When that wasn't what the Most High wanted from us. He wanted us to clear our minds and hearts and put sin 100% away. Because none of these bulls, goats, anything that we sacrifice removes sin. You simply killing animals. So the Most High turned away from that. He didn't want that anymore, right? Even our priests, these solemn feasts and ceremonies, every Sabbath, what we were doing, putting forth sacrifice, the priests putting forth burnt offerings every Sabbath for the sins of the congregation, for the sins of themselves. But these things were not changing our hearts and our conscience. So the law was, as the scriptures say, a shadow of good things to come, a time in which all of us will be operating righteously according to the word of the Most High, and no man will have to teach the next man anything, because in our hearts will be righteousness continually. No thoughts of iniquity, no thoughts of, going against our brothers and sisters. There won't be any thoughts of that. So we have to understand that. But we have to blow the trumpet to be able to teach our people that. We have to be able to talk to our people, tell our people what's going on in these last days. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 5. Wherefore, when he cometh into the world, he saith, sacrifice and offering thou wouldest not, but a body hast thou prepared me.
So he has sent us Christ to be that final sacrifice, the one and only sacrifice that he will accept, right? And through that, that's our way back to the Father. So it's been given to us, a way. We got to sound the horn. We know the way, right? But others don't. So we got to be that horn. We got to be that trumpet going out and teaching our brothers and sisters, sharing this gospel to help bring our people into this kingdom. All right? Go ahead, commentary.
Even the law of sacrifices, offering, and trumpets were still foreshadowing a greater event to go down in the earth. The trumpet is being blown so that the people can gather to understand and accept the sacrifices that Christ became for us all to make it into the kingdom. It also showed that with that sacrifice will come forth the law, just like it came forth from the temple. Let's look at another instance of significance where the horns were being used.
Let's go to Joshua chapter 6, 1 through 23. Everybody knows this story, but we're going to read through it. Joshua chapter 6, 1 through 23, the walls of Jericho.
We're in the book of Joshua chapter 6, verses 1 through 23. Verse 1. Now Jericho was straitly shut up because of the children of Israel. None went out and none came in. And the Most High said unto Joshua, See, I have given unto thine hand Jericho, and the king thereof, and the mighty men of valor. And ye shall compass the city, all ye men of war, and go round about the city once. And thus shalt thou do 6 days. And 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets of ram's horns, and the 7th day ye shall compass the city 7 times, and the priests shall blow with the trumpets. And it shall come to pass that when they make a long blast with the ram's horn, and when ye hear the sound of the trumpet, all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city shall fall down flat, and the people shall ascend up every man straight before him. And Joshua the son of Nun called the priests, and said unto them, Take up the ark of the covenant, and let 7 priests bear 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the ark of the Most High. And he said unto the people, Pass on and compass the city, and let him that is armed pass on before the ark of the Most High. And it came to pass, when Joshua had spoken unto the people, that the 7 priests, bearing the 7 trumpets of ram's horns, passed on before the Most High, and blew with the trumpets, and the ark of the covenant of the Most High followed them.
Now, y'all paying attention to this is a different trumpet, right? This is a totally different sound. It's not the same sound that we were dealing with earlier with the silver horns. It's a totally different sound that we're dealing with now. So that's why it's going to be important for us to understand the sounds of these horns, right? This is a ram's horn. Earlier we were dealing with a trumpet, right? Made of silver, fully made of silver, a full sheet of silver. So it's a different sound. Who here outside of our musicians have heard the ram's horn? All right, how many people have actually heard a trumpet blow? Sounds totally different, right? Totally different. So we're going to need to understand that. And here, the ram's horn is significant or plays an important part in warning and preparation for war. All right? It's also speaking of those 7 angels, too, who will be coming. So keep reading, bro.
Joshua chapter 6, verse 9. And the armed men went before the priests that blew the trumpets, and the rearward came after the ark, the priests going on and blowing with the trumpets. And Joshua had commanded the people, saying, Ye shall not shout, nor make any noise with your voice, neither shall any word proceed out of your mouth, until the day I bid you shout. Then shall ye shout. So the ark of the Most High compassed the city, going about it once. And they came unto the camp and lodged in the camp. And Joshua rose early in the morning, and the priest took up the ark of the Most High.
Now, let me ask you this question. What does the ark signify with us? With us carrying that ark around and going around those walls, what does it signify for us? Absolutely. I want to hear y'all say it. What does it signify? I can't hear you.
Power of the Most High.
Say it loudly.
Power of the Most High.
Being with us. That's the difference, right? He's there with us. That's the significance of that ark. If you understand the story of the ark, that's what the purpose of it was for, right? For the Most High's presence to be with us at all times. And only certain people could touch that ark, right? That's very important. Some brothers had to die because of that, right? So this is important for us to understand that. Keep reading, bro.
Verse 12. And Joshua rose early in the morning, and the priest took up the ark of the Most High. The 7 priests, bearing 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the ark of the Most High, went on continually, and blew with the trumpets. And the armed men went before them, but the rearward came after the ark of the Most High, the priests going on and blowing with the trumpets.
Mm-hmm.
And on the 2nd day they compassed the city once, and returned into the camp. So they did 6 days.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to pass on the 7th day that they rose early about the dawning of the day, and compassed the city after the same manner 7 times. Only on that day they compassed the city 7 times. And it came to pass at the 7th time, when the priests blew the trumpets, Joshua said unto the people, Shout, for the Most High hath given you the city. And the city shall be accursed, even it, and all that therein, to the Most High. Only Rahab the harlot shall live, she and all that are with her in her house, because she had hid the messengers that we sent. And ye in any wise keep yourselves from the accursed thing, lest ye make yourselves accursed. When ye take of the accursed thing, and make the camp of Israel a curse, and trouble it.
Mm-hmm.
But all the silver and gold, the vessels of brass and iron, are consecrated unto the Most High, and they shall come out into the treasury of the Most High. So the people shouted when the priests blew the trumpets, and it came to pass, when the people heard the sound of the trumpet, and the people shouted with a great shout, that the wall fell down flat, so that the people went up into the city, every man straight before him, and they took the city.
Now it's important to understand verses 18 down. It says, and ye in any wise keep yourselves from the accursed things. It's going to be important, again, for us as pilgrims or as a tribe moving around. It's going to come some times where, yes, we may have to be in some level of warfare to protect ourselves. And it's going to be some spoils there that the Most High is going to provide for us, right? We talk about all the time these doomsday preppers, right? How they building these bunkers and all these different things. They really building this stuff for who? Us, right? Because it's going to come a time where the military going to come against them. Others going to come against them. People going to be raiding their places. And it's going to be some times where we're going to be moving and come across these things. And some of these things going to be heavily protected with armed men, right? The Most High is going to always deliver us because we're doing His will. So it's going to come a time where it's going to be some things in there that's accursed. What's one of those things that's probably going to be in there? Think about it. Spam, pork and beans, idols. It's going to be a lot of things that's going to be within these places that you're going to go into that you're going to think, oh, I can get something for this. Or I could take this and, have this thing with me and it's just something that I want, right? Not knowing that a lot of this stuff is idols. A lot of this stuff is things given to other gods, that's carrying a certain energy that's not going to be good for God's people. So we're going to have to understand that even in those days. All of this stuff is preparation for the times to come. It may seem small, but it's not, right? Because how many people can go in scriptures and find, first of all, why was Saul being destroyed? He didn't follow the Most High's order. And did what? He took the spoil. He took things that he was not supposed to take, right? These things, the Most High just simply wants us to be obedient to His word. So He wants us to avoid the accursed things. There's other stories throughout Scripture that speaks on that, taking the cursed things, right? So we got to be aware of these things as this trumpet is sounding in these last days, right? Go ahead, keep reading, bro.
Joshua 6:21. And they utterly destroyed all that was in the city, both man and woman, young and old, and ox and sheep and donkey with the edge of the sword. But Joshua had said unto the two men that spied out the country, Go into the harlot's house and bring out thence the woman and all that she hath, as he sware unto her.
Now, why is she being saved? She helped them, but what was her reason for helping? Who had she heard of? She heard of the Most High, which means somebody did what? Sounded the trumpet, right? So this is what the scripture is trying to give us, understanding that, listen, I don't care how much sinning you're doing, you can come out of it and be saved, right? So we have to be the people to help these people. We're children of light. We got to go and help these people, give them the goodly words so that we can help pull them out of the destruction that is coming. And that's exactly what was taking place with, how you say that name? Ahab? Rahab. This is exactly what was taking place with her. Keep reading, bro.
Verse 23. And the young men that were spies went in and brought out Rahab and her father and her mother and her brethren and all that she had. And they brought her out, all her kindred, and left them without the camp of Israel.
Whoever's come to her.
This situation is significant in the fact that destruction came at the last of 7 trumpets, and we are to look to the future trumpets we are to look at the future trumpets which will and have come to pass as destruction comes upon the earth.
So let's go to Revelation 8, 1 through 2, and get a quick understanding on those trumpets.
We're in the book of Revelation, chapter 8, verse 1 and verse 2. Verse 1. And when he had opened the 7th seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour. And I saw the 7 angels which stood before the Most High, and to them were given 7 trumpets.
So to these angels, and we're going to read about them as we continue to go through, to these angels, each one in those trumpets or in those vials that they have is a level of destruction, right? We're in a few of them now. I'm not going to say all 7 of them, because we haven't hit 7 yet. So we're in a few of them now. And we're dealing with issues of these vials being released. And we'll go into Baruch here in a minute, and I'll get what some of those few vials are that are released already. All right, so read your commentary.
The angels, which were 7 in total, had 7 trumpets, which brought forth the impending destruction upon the earth from the spiritual realm.
From the spiritual realm. So Amos chapter 9, 8 through 10.
We're in the book of Amos, chapter 9, reading verses 8 through 10. Verse 8. Behold, the eyes of the Lord God are upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith the Lord.
Question. How many people know what the eyes of the Most High? Say it loud. The angels, right? The angels that's been around since when? Beginning of time. Even the angel that operates with you is considered the eyes of the Most High. Seeing all things and delivering all wickedness, all righteousness to the Most High. Giving a report. These are the eyes of the Most High. This is why people say the Most High is omnipresent. Seeing, all knowing. This is why. Right? He has angels operating all around us, day in and day out, from this corner of the earth to that corner of the earth, delivering understanding to the Most High, or delivering witness to the Most High. All right? Go ahead, bro.
Verse 9. For lo, I will command and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like as corn is sifted in a sieve.
Mm-hmm.
Yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which say, the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us.
When he says all the sinners of my people, that's even in Israel. So we got to wake each other up too, right? So nobody is exempt from this. We all have to, get on one accord with the word of the Most High. Well, he'll destroy us too, right? That's why we talk to these brothers walking around out here to think just because they're Israel, they're going to make it. And treating people like the bottom of their shoe. No, that's not going to work, right? He would destroy us all, right? Zechariah chapter 4, 9 through 10.
We're in Zechariah chapter 4, verses 9 and 10. Verse 9. The hands of Zerubbabel have laid the foundation of this house. His hand shall also finish it. And thou shalt know that the Most High of hosts hath sent me unto you. For those who have despised the day of small things, for they shall rejoice and shall see the plummet in the hand of Zerubbabel with those 7. They are the eyes of the Most High, which run to and fro through the whole earth.
They run to and fro through the whole earth. So these angels, or these 7 angels, will be delivering word to the Most High, but they also, in times past, will blow those trumpets and release vows of destruction on this earth. All right, it's important to understand these things. Go ahead and read your commentary.
There are 7 angels which oversee all the situations of man, with several angels under them. These are called the Most High's eyes, and are in charge of the trumpets which shall bring forth his purposes.
Absolutely. So 7 angels with angels operating under them. So those 7 angels have dispersed duties to all the other angels. So there you have those angels that operate with you and others reporting back. All right. So Revelation chapter 10, verses 7 through 8. And then we'll move on from there. Revelation chapter 10, 7 through 8.
We're in the book of Revelation, chapter 10, verse 7. But in the days of the voice of the 7th angel, when he shall begin to sound, the mystery of Ahiah shall be finished, as he have declared to his servants the prophets. Verse 8. And the voice which I heard from heaven spake unto me again, and said, Go, and take the little book which is open in the hand of the angel which standeth upon the sea, and open and upon the earth.
Revelation 11, 15 through 17.
We're in the book of Revelation, chapter 11, verse 15.
Now, what's that little book? The law, right? You can go all the way back to Ezekiel and understand about that little book, right? That was given to Ezekiel to eat. All of us were supposed to have eaten them, right? That was what was going to guide us and lead us into Christ, which is leading us back to the Father. So in those days, these angels are going to be operating still with that book, right? Still operating within the law and doing the things that the Most High have ordained them to do. We all are going to be, or are being asked to operate within that now. But it's a shadow of things to come. So we have to prepare ourselves now by obeying, but it's a shadow of things to come, it will be better in the kingdom, all right? So Revelation 11, 15 through 17.
Verse 15. And the seventh angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven, saying, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Lord and of his Christ, and he shall reign forever and ever.
Mm-hmm.
And the 24 elders which sat before the Most High and higher on their seats fell upon their faces and worshipped the Most High,
Mm-hmm.
saying, we give thanks, O Lord Almighty, which art and was and art to come, because thou hast taken to thee thy great power and has reigned.
It has reigned. So it's going to come a time where this whole world will be destroyed and turned over to Christ. And from Christ, Christ will turn it over to the Most High. And we will have order again back in this world. It's going to be those 24 elders, which some are the disciples, some are, some are other four parents, or other prophets, right? They're going to be leading us and guiding us according to the Most High, right? Revelation chapter 16, verse 17 through 21.
We're in the book of Revelation, chapter 16, starting at verse 17. Verse 17, and the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple out of heaven, from the throne, saying, it is done.
Mm-hmm.
And there were voices, and thunders, and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as not since men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake, and so great.
Mm-hmm.
And the great city was divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell. And great Babylon came in remembrance before the Most High and higher.
So when we speaking of these things, based on prophecies, we know that there's going to be wars. And in the midst of those wars, there's going to be attacks. It's going to be nuclear attacks. It's going to be just wars and missile attacks to America. A lot of people don't realize that. This is Babylon. We will be attacked. And if you're not paying attention, that's why I said many people are being distracted by things like Nike and some of these other issues that's going on that really don't mean anything and are not truly paying attention to the real news of the things that are taking place in Iran, the things that are taking place in Syria, the things that are taking place in Africa, things that are taking place in Israel, the land of Israel, right? These are the things that we need to be paying attention to, because these are what are bringing on the prophecy, right? Continual destruction in Gaza as we speak, right? These things are bringing forth those prophecies. And what we don't understand is the more we continue to give nations like Israel and Saudi Arabia power, other nations that we have come against, which the scriptures speak of, Syria, Iran, nations like Russia, these countries will come against us. So as we read the scripture and it speaks about those great earthquakes dividing the cities into 3 parts, or the great Babylon came into remembrance before the Most High, this is giving us prophecy or understanding that there will be a divide within this country, right? When I say within this country, America will be hit by nuclear bombs, right? America will be hit by bombs. There will be war here. But if you see any of those FEMA maps, FEMA has this country already divided into 3 parts, right? When you look at some of these places that they have divided, you notice that a lot of those places, if you go further into research, you find out that most of these places, or those divide lines, are along the fault lines which have nuclear facilities on them. These facilities are going to be destroyed. And in being destroyed, there's your separation. There's your divide, that 3-part divide. So it's going to be time where this nation is going to be utterly destroyed and we won't be able to operate here. So we're going to have to be pilgrims. We're going to have to be moving within this earth. Some of us may get caught here in America and still have to move, right? It's still going to, Most High still going to make a way for his children to make it out, right? But we got to be paying attention so that we'll know, okay, I need to be over here because this is going to happen over there, right? We need to know these things, and that's what blowing of the trumpet is very important, because it gives us insight and understanding as to the prophecies that are going to be taking place and going to be happening in these last days, and it gives us foresight. Gives us, a heads up so that we can begin to prepare ourselves. So in this time of blowing the trumpets in the fall, this is the time to prepare, right? Why do you think they harvest and do all that stuff around this time of the year? People who deal with farms. Not only because this is time for those things to ripen and be harvested, but what else? The winter coming. The rough season. And when you read Matthew, it says, pray that your flight don't be in what? In the winter, right? This is a reason for that. Because it's the hard times of the year. Nobody want to be moving around in snow, right? In certain parts of the country, they getting snow, to this top level here. Nobody want to be trying to move around and maneuver and stuff like that. So now would be the time to prepare yourself and prep yourself for what the times that come, right? So putting things away. One of those things we know we need to be preparing by doing what? Getting our passports. To all those who don't have passports, we need to be getting our passport. That's preparation. Not only that, we need to be also doing what? Figuring out ways to have some level of barter system amongst at least our people, right? This tribe may have this tribe may have that, this tribe may have that. We dealt in shekels in our land, but here we may have to deal in what? Pennies, nickels, whatever little change we might have, but that might not even work for us. So it may be, okay, your tribe grows tomatoes, your tribe grows oranges, your tribe grows lettuce. They're going to barter. Let me get some lettuce, I'll let you get some tomatoes. You understand what I'm saying? Or your tribe may be the cattle tribe. If you look at Africa, they have that same system to this day, right? You got tribes who are known for just cattle. You got tribes who are known for just lamb and sheep, right? You got some tribes who are known for the green thumb or vegetation, right? All this stuff is going to be important, right? All of it. So that's something that we have to prepare for now, set up now, all right? Go ahead where you left off.
Verse 19, and the great city was divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell, and great Babylon came in remembrance before the Most High to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath.
Destruction, right? Go ahead, bro.
And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found.
They were destroyed. Go ahead, bro.
And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent. And men blasphemed the Most High because of the plagues of the hail, for the plague thereof was exceedingly great. So these are some of the things that are going to be taking place in those trumps, right? The veils will be released and these things will be happening on this earth, right? So these things we need to be paying attention to and sharing, right? A lot of the stuff we read, and a lot of times most churches don't even go over this stuff. It's all about being saved and you ain't got to worry about none of this. If you save, you're going to be caught up in the rapture, right? That's all you got to be worried about. But that's not what the Most High is trying to teach our people. This is what he wants our people to know, be warned. This is what's actually going to happen. So we got to take this information and share it with all those who think. I can go to my mom. My mom already got her comfortable seat on her couch. She chilling. Because I'm going to be caught up in, that's how she feels. I'm going to be caught up in the rapture. When it gets rough, I'm going to be caught up in the rapture. So she got her nice soft seat, where she feel like she going to be when that poof be gone thing comes. Right? And now they got more movies coming out now about the rapture. Up-to-date ones. Where they got people standing and walking and clothes falling on the ground. Planes falling out the air. Cars running into each other. And it's like a big... who's seen the Rock movie when it had the earthquake? Then they had the San Andreas fault, whatever that's the name of it. San Andreas. That's what they got going on now to make it more exciting for us to look at. Steady teaching us false lies, false doctrine, right? But they make us want to look at it with the excitement of it and all that stuff. But it's still false doctrine. They just finding new ways to give it to us. Right? And many of our people, it's just like it was a movie a couple years ago. We went to go see it at the Paradigm, whatever that movie was. It was a Christian movie. It won't left behind. It was about a mother and her son. And the mother was the war room. The war room. Churches getting in buses.
flocking to the movie theater to see these movies. And these movies was doing nothing but teaching our people. That's the same thing they're doing now. They're going to jump on buses, take church trips, children, adults, everybody. They go see these movies to get further indoctrinated. We need to be standing in the movies teaching these people. That's not true. Whatever we need to do, teach them the word. Because the pastors now, they fully have dropped the ball. Right? They fully have dropped the ball. So we got to be there to give them this understanding so that they don't fall further into it. Right? You read your commentary? Good.
With these 7 angels will come great destruction, and we are to be aware of those trumpets, as they are a sign that a serious spiritual war is soon to come. Mm-hmm. Let's look at what signs we are to see in those days when the trumpets are sounding.
Trumpets sound. So Isaiah 27:13.
We're in the book of Isaiah, chapter 27, reading verse 13. And it shall come to pass in that day that the great trumpet shall be blown, and they shall come which were ready to perish in the land of Assyria, and the outcast in the land of Egypt, and shall worship the Lord in the holy mount at Jerusalem.
Who is those people? All of us, Israel, the righteousness, those who will be operating righteously in the Most High. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day, when those trumpets sound, that the great trumpet shall be blown, and they shall come, which were ready to perish in the land of Assyria. Why are they saying ready to perish? Because it was too much on us. It's a lot on us now. A lot of us feel like we're ready to die. We go back to Deuteronomy, it speaks on it. In the evening, we shall wish it was morning. In the morning, we're going to wish it was evening. All of that is coming on us because they treating us like oxen. Put dangle a little house in front of us, we running. Plowing, all types of stuff, if you will. I'm trying to use an example to give y'all understanding on that. But that's what they're doing to us. And a lot of us, we working ourselves to the bone. And a lot of us just tired of this. A lot of our brothers and sisters just ready to go. Right? I had a sister call me and she going through it. Right? But every time she called me, when I tell them, like, oh man, so-and-so called. Every time she called me, it's a depressing conversation. Right? It's always an issue with her. She got something wrong, something going on, right? So this time when she called me, she just was like, I think it's my time to go. I'm like, what you talking about? She 40. She like my 40, 41. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, she was like, I can't do nothing right. I'm working, I'm doing this, but things just don't seem to be right. And I'm listening to her like, first off, you got them kids, right? That's what I'm saying to her. She was like, yeah, I know. I said, so why are you thinking like that when you got 2 little kids that you got to teach and train up? Think. I'm trying to wake her up. She's like, oh, no, but this. I said, so you need a new train of thought. But when I look at her and everything she's ever told me, I think about all the toils that she's been through in life. And our people get tired, get fed up, get beat to the ground, and they think some of us that's that suicide mind, right? Just ready to go. They got her on drugs and all types of stuff because mental breakdowns, right? All of this stuff happens when we are operating in this wicked system. When we not operating with the Most High, this is what happened. And this sister, I've been sharing the word with her like for a long time. She hear, but she won't forbid. She hear, but she won't. She won't get with it. She understands it. She's like, that makes sense. So for a moment, she's like, I'm glad I talked to you. But then it's the next 2-3 days, so, oh God. Right? Because she just don't want to get into the word and truly allow the Most High to really guide her life. She feels as though she can do it. And as she continues to do it, it beats her up so bad. So when she's like, I'm done. And she, like I said, she's 40, 41, she's young. Don't need to be thinking like that. But that's how our people think. Right? We going through it. Why do you think we get a lot of brothers and sisters that's out here on drugs and alcohol? They can't cope with what they're dealing with in life. Right? A lot of our brothers go to work, they functional drug addicts. Right? But they're using those drugs to deal with the pressures of life. And that's what a lot of our people are dealing with. And we need to wake these people up in these last days because a lot of our people are like that. I'm going to try to check up out of here. But we got to wake them up. We got to give them the understanding, that there is a better way. There is, a better life, right? Teach them now so that they can come out of, this destructive spirit that ain't coming from nobody but Satan. But this is what happens when we're in a land, like it speaks of, the people ready to perish in the land of Assyria. Well, in Babylon, our people are ready to go. Right? We destroyed as a people. Right? We had that conversation a couple weeks ago about it was slavery a choice. It was, but through that choice, we have created like a horrible way of living life. Horrible. I don't care how rich you get. All these people, when you look at them, they jumping off buildings, they jumping off bridges. Some of them committing suicide by cop. All this types of crazy stuff is happening, even with our rich people who supposedly got it all. Right? Black and white. It don't even matter. But we living in a system that is destroying us. We are being, used as oxen, right? To further their agendas, but not the agenda of the Most High. So in that day, we will be called out of these lands, the land of Assyria, the outcasts of Egypt, and shall worship the Most High in the holy mount of Jerusalem. But the only way that's going to happen for our people is to do what? Y'all answer that. To do what? Blow the trumpet. Teach our people. Give them the understanding. Right? That's how that's going to happen. Right? Because even these people, if we look at the terms here, land of Assyria, Egypt, and then in Jerusalem, if we take that, as it is written, we have brothers and sisters in these lands. If we over here, considering ourselves to understand his word and know that we the children of Israel and going to operate according to his word, if we know we need to get back to those areas, shouldn't we be going into those areas to teach these people? That's where some of our refuge is going to be. So it's going to be important for us to make sure that we, getting out and sharing this gospel, right? Through social media, through word of mouth, use a letter if you got to, right? They still do that. How many people have seen 700 Club? They still writing letters. We can do that. I go back to my old church sometime and they be having, overseas ministries that they actually have and support. And most of the stuff that they're dealing with these churches is through writing letters. We can do that. It's all about finding that anchor point, one person, two people that's in these areas, and begin to build with these individuals. And then they begin to build with others and others. That's how we build all these churches, right? And we got brothers that's getting ready to head over to the Middle East. That could be a way, right? Most I do everything for a reason. So it's important to understand that we still can help and share this gospel and build places of refuge, right? But we're going to talk about that type of stuff a little bit later. But read your commentary.
So with the finalization of these trumpets, there will be a great deliverance of the Most High's people that are left upon the earth after the great destruction to come.
After the great destruction to come. So let's go to the apocalypse of Baruch. And again, here, we're going to talk about some of the things that will be done through the delivering of these angels in these days, right? The 7 angels. So this Baruch 7, verses 1 through 15.
We're in the Apocalypse of Baruch, chapter 27, verses 1 through 15.
Now pay attention to these things, because a lot of this stuff has already been delivered. That's why I said some of the vows have already been released. So as you hear these things, start thinking in your mind, oh man, we ain't got much time. We passed the halfway point when it comes to those 7 seals. We passed the halfway point, right? So pay attention to these things that's going to be delivered and understand that we're dealing with these things right now to this day, all right? Go ahead, bro.
Through 28 and 1. Verse 1. And he said, and he answered and said unto me, into 12 parts is that time divided, and each one of them is reserved for that which is appointed for it. In the first part, there shall be the beginning of commotions.
Mm-hmm.
In the second part, there shall be slayings of the great ones.
Now, y'all see all that happen. All right? All that's happening. Now, I'm not getting ready to go into all this. Y'all seen all these people dying, Aretha, Burt Reynolds, all these people. That ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Right? He's talking about great ones. A lot of people will correlate stuff like that. But no. He's talking about his righteous brothers, his righteous leaders. They're going to begin, to be destroyed, right? Go ahead. And that's happening. That's been happening. if y'all can understand it. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 4. And in the third part, the fall of many by death. And in the fourth part, the sending of the sword. And in the fifth part, famine and withholding of rain. And in the sixth part, earthquakes and terrors. Then wanting. Verse in chapter 27, verse 9.
That wanting one, we in that now. That's how a lot of our people right now are. That covetous spirit is abundant. It's all over our people, right? So that one is a strong one. Go ahead, bro.
And in the eighth part, a multitude of specters and attacks of the Shaddim.
So that's spirits attacking, right? So again, we're going to get down to it, but none of this stuff is happening in the order that we're reading. None of it. So we may be reading Slain of the Great Ones, or many fall by death, the wantings, the earthquakes, all that. All that stuff is happening, the famines, the withholding of rains, all that stuff is happening, but it's not happening in a particular order. It's happening though, right? So these things you got to be paying attention, because as you see them, you got to know how to move, right? How to do things, how to understand the scriptures on how to guide yourself from this point on, all right? Keep reading.
Verse 10, and in the ninth part, the fall of fire. And in the 10th part, rapine and much oppression.
Now, has the fall of fire happened? That ain't happening. When you think that one will happen?
Babylon gets destroyed.
7. That's right around that 7th seal. Because the fall of fire means what? Utter what? Utter destruction. Because that's when Christ returns, Christ is going to be speaking what? Fire, flames, and destroying. That flame that he's going to be putting out there is going to be who? Us. His battle axe. Going and destroying. That's that flame of fire, right? Just he's going to be doing what? Ezra 13 says he's going to be doing what? Sitting on the mountain what? Right? And destroying. From sitting on that mountain. We're going to be his battle axe going forth and destroying. So that we know is near the very last trumpet. Or the last trumpet. We know that. But the rest of these, as you hear them, that could be now. That could be soon to come. It's no order to it. But that fall of fire, we know that part there. Oh, that's the last destruction. Right? Keep reading, bro.
Verse 12. And in the 11th part, wickedness and unchastity.
We dealing with that now.
And in the 12th part, confusion from the mingling together of all things aforesaid.
Now, all things aforesaid is every single thing that we see. All our people are utterly destroyed and confused. First of all, seasons are confused, so you don't know what right now. So people are operating in certain manners. I mean, when you speak of the attack of the Shaddim, these things, you got people walking around with crazy, wicked spirits on them all day, every day. So our people, like I said, it's in no particular order. So our people are confused as to what time frame that we're in. But who should not be confused? Children of light. Because we got the word with us, and he's giving us the understanding on what is going on. All these things are to happen. We read Matthew 24. It gives us the order of how things are going to be. Right? It gives us understanding on what to be looking for in this time, what to be looking for in this time, and on and on and on. So we should not be confused. We should be the level-headed people doing what? What's the title of the lesson? Blowing the trumpet. We should be the level-headed people going about sharing this gospel, giving them the word and understanding, showing them that some of this stuff that's happening right now was prophesied to happen. But as Matthew 24 says, but the end is not yet. This is the beginning of sorrows, right? We need to be going about sharing this doctrine, sharing this understanding with people so that they can be getting to prepare themselves and get on the right track, right? Because more is going to come. Right? We, as those who want to live through this, because the scripture, 2 Ezra tells us what? Those who live through it are what? More blessed. Right? So we that want to live through it, we're going to see all this stuff take place. So we, in our minds, we need to be making sure that we seeing it and realizing that it's in no particular order, but getting our house right. Right? Keep reading, bro.
And rapine is ransacking property and businesses and things like that. Verse 14, for those parts of that time are reserved and shall be mingled one with another and minister one to another. Verse 15, for some shall leave out some of their own, and receive in its stead from others. And some shall complete their own, and that of others, so that those may not understand who are upon the earth in those days, that this is the consummation of the times.
The end of times, all right? Read your last one.
Verse 28, verse 1, nevertheless, whosoever understand shall then be wise.
Shall then be wise. So we are considering ourselves to have wisdom, right? A lot of us considering ourselves to have received the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit teaches us wisdom. So we should be able to discern what is being spoken of here in Baruch about these 7 seals, right? These different things that's going to be delivered or brought upon this earth in the last days. We should be able to be wise enough to understand, okay, when I see this, I know the end is near. When I see that, I know the end is near. Let me do this, let me do this, let me do that, right? That's the point of blowing the trumpets, to warn, to prepare, to give us heads up on what we need to be doing to prepare ourselves to get out of the way of danger, right? Read your commentary.
So these are the real trumpets and their signs to look for as the wise will see them and prepare themselves.
Mm-hmm.
We who are wise are to see these things and not fear them, but thank the Most High that we can hear the trumpets even when the rest of the world ignores the signs.
Even when the rest of the world ignores the sound. And y'all know that's what's happening. Nobody else in this world cares about what's truly going on in these last evil days. Everybody, for some reason, think that the world is going to be corrected. As long as we get Trump out of office, we can fix this. Right? They think this world, this life we living in, this American dream or whatever, is going to last forever. It's not. Most High let us know it's going to be utterly destroyed. It has to be utterly destroyed so that his kingdom, his tabernacle can come here. It's not nothing that we dealing with within this earth now will be around when Christ and the Most High is here on this earth. So all things got to be destroyed. So it's no place of fixing. Nothing. Right? Only thing we can do now is be obedient to his word, obey his word, and prepare ourselves according to his word that he has given us. That's it. And show that same love that the scripture teaches to others in blowing the trumpet to them to give them the same knowledge and same understanding. Right? And prepare ourselves. So let's go to Matthew chapter 24. And here is more understanding or more trumpet blowing through Christ. Right? Matthew chapter 24, verses 4 through 31.
We in the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 4. And Yeshua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you.
Mm-hmm.
For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many.
That's a major trumpet being blown. Go ahead.
And ye shall hear of wars, and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet.
Super big trumpet blowing there.
For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines, and pestilence, and earthquakes, in diverse places.
All these things we just read in Baruch, giving us the same thing. Speaking of these seals, speaking of the deliverance of these angels, delivering these things to us. So all these things we can read in Baruch, but we also can read it within the Bible through Christ. He gave us, he's the ultimate blueprint. He's given us the ultimate blueprint to prepare ourselves for the kingdom and what to be looking for. So these things are trumpets being blown loudly in our ears. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 8, all these are the beginning of sorrows.
Mm-hmm.
Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you. And ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many.
Many shall be deceived. Another loud trumpet blown.
And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached unto all the world for a witness unto all nations.
Mm-hmm.
And then
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
and then shall the end come.
So this word, again, that's why we're saying we have to blow this trumpet, because we have to get the word out. Then the end shall come. So we got a little time to share this gospel, but the Most High not going to wait all day. We got to understand that. He's not going to wait all day. So we got time to share this gospel, and we need to take that opportunity to do that. But when the Most High taps Christ on the shoulder, that's it. So we're really racing against the Most High in his time, or his patience, if you will. And he got a plethora of patience, but it's about that time. Y'all understand that, right? It's about that time for him to tap Christ and send them on. So we got to share this gospel. Good.
Verse 15. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. Whosoever readeth, let him understand.
Mm-hmm.
Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains.
So we can talk about, what's that, 721? 70 AD. We can speak about that and then give understanding on that. But if we looking now, if we taking heed to what we're speaking of now, we have to look at where we are, right? Because most of Israel has been scattered. So the areas in which we are will be conquered again. They're already conquered, but they will be utterly destroyed by the conquerors, right? Or the colonizers, if you will. They will come against us again. And in that day, we ought to do what? What does it say? Let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. That goes towards us also in where we are located at now. When we see this destruction coming amongst us, we got to flee. We got to go. We got to move from at least from this city to the next, getting ourselves out of harm's way, right? So that's going to be important to understand too. That's also a part of sounding the trumpet and understanding the purpose of blowing the trumpets. Because again, I said we're going to be a tribe operating. We're going to have other tribes operating. We're going to have, different, we're going to probably call them, you're going to say Philadelphia, tribe of Philadelphia, tribe of New York, tribe of Virginia, tribe of Florida, right? All this, you probably call it that, right? Because it's going to be a mixture of every tribe in each tribe, if you will, or each congregation. So you can't really say, okay, there go Judah over there. We're not going to be able to do that. We just going to be tribe of Virginia, right? State of Virginia, right? We're going to be having to move, right? So in those days, we're going to have to, and again, we're going to go into this a little bit later, but as leadership, we're going to have to prepare ourselves as the leaders to put in place something that we're going to be teaching to our body. That once we teach it to our body will understand that it's a chain and it's a link in a chain, right? That what we do, others will be relying on that. When I say that, it's like this. If I'm a school teacher and I teach math, let's just say math, right? And I'm trying to get my students to understand a particular topic, but I'm one teacher and I have another teacher that assists me. So you have period 1, you have period 2. In period 1, the teacher might teach me how to add. In period 2, the teacher might teach me how to subtract. So what do you need in order to subtract? To know how to do what? Same thing with multiplication, right? You got to know how to add, you got to know how to subtract, right? So these things are links in a chain to get to something bigger. So you go from adding, subtraction, multiplication, division, fractions, and up and up and up, right? All these things are links in a chain. But each one of these things, this teacher teaches this to help this teacher get to here. You see what I'm saying? You understand? Each piece. So our tribe is going to have to learn our part. So that when we start putting the links together, each tribe will be operating based on making sure that this gets done, or that gets done, or this gets done, or this gets recognized, or is being recognized, right? So say, for instance, right, we get out in the wilderness, and us as leaders, we have prepared our bodies. So say New York is red, we're blue, Florida is purple, California is green, some of the South, Georgia, they're like yellow. And say we get out into the wilderness, right? And we want to find our brothers and sisters. We put up the red or the blue. Who's going to know what that is? Only us, right? Only our people. Why? Because the leaders have taught the body or the tribe. Now the tribe realizes, oh, if I see red, I know that's New York, tribe of New York. So I can go link up with them, right? That's like blowing the trumpets. These things we're going to need to teach each other over time in these last days, because this stuff is going to help us when it's time to move as pilgrims on this earth, right? It's going to be, it's going to be vital. It's going to be very vital to that, right? Keep reading, bro.
Verse 16, then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house.
Mm-hmm.
Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes.
So nowhere in this do we see the rapture. What we do see is movement. That's what we see. Movement. Not rapture of being caught up or picked up or taken here or taken there. We see movement by those who is aware of the warning. That's what we see. So let him which is in the field, neither let him which is in the field return to take his clothes. Leave that mess and go, right? Let him who's on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Leave that mess and move. That's what the scriptures is giving us. So we're gonna need to teach our people this in the last days, because there's gonna be a lot of people sitting on that couch getting hit with them fire missiles, right? Destroyed because they don't want to take heed. They don't want to actually listen to what is being prophesied to us through Christ and through our foreparents. That's giving us understanding on what we should be looking for. We are being deceived, as I said earlier up here. See that ye be not deceived, and many are. Right? Keep reading, bro.
Verse 19, and woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days.
Why is that? Why is that? Ladies, why is that? What y'all can't do now when y'all got these little ones?
You can't fly.
Can't move. She said fly. You get stuck in one place because you got your little ones, right?
You can't be quiet.
That too. That's another one, right? But those that's walking around pregnant, it ain't but so far you're going to be going, right? Before you're going to want to sit down and relax those feet, your back, whatever it may be. Or those who have babies that need feeding, nourishment. You will have to do what? Pause for a second. Or you're going to have to learn how to keep moving. You understand what I'm saying? You're going to have to learn, but it's going to be tough, right? A lot of people to this day, can't sit and do two things at once like that. So, exactly. So that's going to be a tough one for a lot, right? So these are some of the things to be paying attention for. Woe to those who give suck in those days. Keep reading, bro.
Verse 20, but pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day.
You don't want to be moving around when it's ice cold outside, and it's the Sabbath day, so you want to be doing what? Resting. Nobody wants to be running and hiding in the trees on the Sabbath day. Y'all understand that? That's why he's saying that. And in the wintertime, it's cold. Who wants to be running through the woods or having to run through water paths or whatever it may be? Nobody, especially not with kids, babies, pregnant women. Who wants to be doing that? Nobody. So pray that none of this happens in that time. But hey, Most High knows what he's doing, so all we can do is depend on him. So pray that your flight be not in the winter and the Sabbath. Go ahead.
For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time. No, nor ever shall be.
Because it's going to be rough. It's going to be really rough, right? So go ahead, bro.
And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened.
Mm-hmm.
Then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, and so much that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect.
So you got people like, what's the guy? Tesla guy. That's his name, right? Elon Musk. People like that, right? operating with all levels. I was looking at this Joe Rogan thing with him on there, and he asked him a question, how you doing? He said, man, head going crazy. What you mean by that? What, you got a bunch of ideas? He's like, yes. Head going all over the place. So I seen him with he had a particular gun, and it's a water gun right now. I've seen the water gun style of it, but he has created it to where it's shooting like some kind of beams. I don't know, you might, I don't know. But he had examples of that, those types of things that he's creating, but other wicked things like the underground tunnels that he's building with the carts that moving at, I can't really explain, I ain't that technical with it, but they moving past the speed of light, underground, right? These are the kind of things that he's doing now and putting together. So it's going to be people operating like that people are going to be putting them on pedestals of being like gods. This guy made this guy, you know, and it's happening now. People are looking at people now in that manner, right? So, and many are being deceived, right? Go ahead, bro.
Verse 25, behold, I have told you before. Wherefore, if they shall say unto you, behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. For as the lighting come out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For whatsoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together.
Now my question is, how many people pay attention to Hagee and some of his people? Who they looking for to sit their seat in Jerusalem? They looking for Christ to return to that place, right? They're looking for a particular prophet to come there. That they sending all their monies and things there now. So they're trying to build this land. That's why they're trying to push out as many of the foreigners, if the real people that's supposed to be there, they're not even real, right? To create this land of only Jews, if you will. So that when this man, woman, or whoever it is comes, that they can worship and have their holy land. This is based off what they read through scripture or in the Talmud. False teachers, false prophets. The scripture is giving us understanding that, wherefore if it shall say unto you, behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. For as the lightning come out of the east and shineth even into the west, so shall also coming the Son of Man be. So that's what a lot of people don't understand, that Christ is soon to return, and ain't none of this stuff that they presenting to us truthful. It tells you where he's coming from, right? That's what we need to be looking for. When he comes and rests on that mountain, that's what we need to be worried about, right? Because all man gonna see him, right? We gonna be here, and they're gonna have their whoever they have in position in their cities. Are we gonna see them through TV? But are we gonna see them as the scripture tells us we gonna all see Christ? We all gonna see Christ, right? The whole earth, the whole world will see Christ, and it ain't gonna be through television. Right? The whole earth gonna be what? Light. And who's gonna be the light? Christ. And if he's the light and he's the only light, you can't miss him. Right? So we ain't gonna have to worrying about this false prophet that's gonna set his seat in Jerusalem. We're gonna be looking for Christ, and Christ has already told us how and when, not when, but how he shall return, and what we are to be looking for. That's what we need to be paying attention to. But we got to blow the trumpet. We got to let others know, or they'll continue to be deceived by these false teachers. Keep reading, bro.
Verse 29. Immediately after the tribulations of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heaven shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other.
So we want to be in that number, being gathered together, right? So we got to be paying attention to these signs in these last days. This is a true blowing of the trumpet. Christ has blown the trumpet for us, giving us understanding on what to be looking for. Read your commentary.
So the signs are clear, and we are in those days that Christ spoke of, and that the gathering of the elect shall undergo a great change.
Undergo a great change. Let's read Psalms 81, 1 through 6.
We're in the book of Psalms, chapter 81, reading verses 1 through 6. To the chief musician upon Gittith, a psalm of Asaph. Sing aloud unto God our strength. Make a joyful noise unto the God of Jacob. Take a psalm and bring hither the timbrel, the pleasant harp with the psaltery. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the time appointed on our solemn feast day. For this was a statute for Israel and a law of the God of Jacob. This he ordained in Joseph for a testimony when he went out through the land of Egypt, whereof he heard a language that understood not. I removed his shoulder from the burden. His hands were delivered from the pots. The trumpet is also a sign of great joy and feasting to represent our deliverance. Just like when we were delivered from servitude in Egypt, we are once again beginning to be delivered from our mental and physical slavery right now.
Amen, amen. So that's something that we might start trying to do around here. At each of our changing of seasons and at our feast day times appointed, we may start blowing that trumpet, or at least have a trumpet sound blown. For those who don't have a calendar and not keeping up, that may help you, right? Until you get used to the time frame that it will be. All right, that'd be a good time for us to learn and understand certain things and teach about the different sounds of the trumpets. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 15, 50 through 52. Let's talk about that change that we all shall receive.
We're in the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 15, verses 50 and 52. Now, this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of Ahiah, neither doeth corruption inherit incorruption. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed.
Verse 50 says, Now this I say, brother, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of Ahiah, neither doth corruption inherit incorruption. So you got to understand that this life that we live in will be nothing to us. We will receive a change that will create a body, or I'm trying to put in the right words, will create a spiritual being of us, representation of us, to operate in the kingdom. But we have to now, in order to receive that, we have to now be able to subdue the fleshly body that we live in now. So all the things that are written in Scripture that we've been reading about, putting away sin, operating righteously according to His law, statutes, and commandments, these are the things that prepare us for that body, that spiritual body to come. Nothing else, right? And once we are operating in that manner, all the things that we given, the warnings, and all these things that we given come into play. Because we will know the things that were, ordained to take place at proper times, but we will be in the right mind state to move and operate the way we need to, and preparing ourselves to operate in the spiritual realm. All right, go ahead, bro.
1 Corinthians 50 and 15 and 52. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall rise incorruptible, and we shall be changed.
And we shall be changed. So in the last trump, many of us, right, will be changed automatically, right? It says, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall rise incorruptible, and we shall be changed. So at that last trump, we know what's going to happen. One of the things. What was something we spoke of earlier? Fire falling, right? The last trump, even before the fire fall, at the last trump, what's going to happen? The sun will be darkened, right? That's one thing. Who will be the light in that time? Christ, right? And when Christ is shown, then shall fall what? Fire, right? So fire shall come, but also what's going to happen in that same time frame? The dead going to rise, incorruptible. So mind you, when I told you about that flame of fire that's going to be blasting out his mouth, who is he going to be using? the dead, and who else? Those that remain. Right? So it says, the last trump for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible. And we, the we is those who are still alive, shall be changed. Shall be changed to what?
Incorruptible.
Spiritual beings. Right? We can go into, I believe it's Ezra's, I can't think of the right scripture, but it tells you the power and strength that we will have. That none of the missiles or the weapons of war will be able to destroy us. We will become all powerful. We'll be able to jump over buildings, climb buildings, all over mountains, all these other things, right? Only way that's going to happen is through what? Spiritual beings. Being all powerful now, right? Because we're going to be used to destroy this earth utterly. But we have to receive the change. But the only way you're going to receive that change is you either operating righteously with the Most High and Christ, through Christ, right? Or you're going to receive a change to do what? Operate with Satan and his minions in the lake of fire. Because you can't, these flesh bodies that we have here is not going to be able to maintain in the lake of fire forever. So some level of change has to happen to us too, right? To those who want to be in that lake of fire. Some level of change has to operate, right? So everybody's going to receive a change in the moment, in the twinkling of the eye, right? Let's keep moving. Let's go to the book of Joel 2, 15 through 27. Everybody understand that though? That change? Amen. Amen. Joel chapter 2, 15 through 27.
We're in Joel chapter 2, verse 15 through 27.
Y'all so quiet in here, I can hear y'all stomachs growling. Y'all hungry, huh? Y'all better speak to the Most High when he's speaking words. I ain't talking about me, so don't I'm on me to be a stumbling block for the body. But just get the Most High his due praise, that's all.
Verse 15.
Go ahead, bro.
Blow the trumpet in Zion. Sanctify a fast. Call a solemn assembly. Gather the people. Sanctify the congregation. Assemble the elders. Gather the children. And those that suck the breast. Let the bridegroom go forth of his chamber, and the bride out of her closet. Let the priests, the ministers of the Most High, weep between the porch and the altar, and let them say, Spare thy people, O Most High, and give not thine inheritance to reproach, that the heathen should rule over them. Wherefore should they say among the people, Where is their power? Then will the Most High be zealous Then will the Most High be jealous for this land, and pity his people. Yea, the Most High will answer and say unto his people, Behold, I send you corn and wine and oil, and ye shall be satisfied therewith. And I will no more make you a reproach among the heathen. But I will remove far off from you the northern army, and will drive him into a land barren and desolate, with his face toward the east sea, and his hinder parts toward the utmost sea, and his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he hath done great things. Fear not, O land, be glad and rejoice, for the Most High will do great things. Be not afraid, ye beasts of the field, for the pastures of the wilderness do spring, for the tree beareth her fruit, the fig tree and the vine do yield their strength. Be glad, ye children of Zion, and rejoice in the Most High your power, for he hath given you the former rain moderately, and he will cause to come down for you the rain, the former rain, and the latter rain in the first month. And the floor shall be full of wheat, and the fat shall overflow with wine and oil. And I will restore you to the years that the locust hath eaten, the cankerworm, and the caterpillar, and the palmer worm, and the great army which I sent among you. And ye shall eat in plenty and be satisfied, and praise the name of the Most High your power, that hath dealt wondrously with you, and my people shall never be ashamed. Verse 27, and ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I am the most high your power, and none else, and my people shall never be ashamed.
So it's time for us now to get on the right track. That's one. Repent, be baptized, follow the law, statutes, and commandments through the testimony of Christ, and live your life according to his word, his ordinances, his laws, so that as these trumpets are being sounded, we have that ear to hear and understand what it is that we're supposed to be doing in these last and evil days, to be a part of that number going into that kingdom, or a part of those that will be protected in these last and evil days. We also have to turn that same hand that was given to us to others, right? To give this word to other folks, that they will hear this word and also be drawn in, that they will hear this trumpet, these trumpets that will be released. Because it's not going to be roses and flowers and candy when Christ returns. It's going to be all destruction. So our job is to try to help save as many as we can, right? That's what the Most High is trying to do now. That's why he's speeding up the time. If you haven't noticed, the Sabbath day comes so quick now, right? He's speeding up the time because he's trying to save some flesh, because this world is getting worse and worse and worse, right? So our job is to share this gospel, to give, or to have a zeal to want to share this gospel with others that we see out and about in our lives, right? It's very important that we do that, because not only does it bring others in, but it also helps you hide a multitude of sins, right? So blow the trumpet, blow the trumpet, blow the trumpet. All right, go ahead and read your commentary.
Pray that the Most High finds you worthy to see those days and hear the trumpets clearly and endure. Happy Feast of Trumpets.
Let's get the Most High hand clap.
Shabbat Shalom. I am Brother Nathaniel of the Gathering of Christ Church. And sis, what's your name?
Rashida Morant.
It's probably changed a lot since the very first time. So what does it mean to you?
Now we are in a place and time where Judah is just sounding off. Mm-hmm. You know, the trumpet is blowing, and hopefully all Israel hears that warning, and they see it. There's so much now that has been put into place and put in the air over, you know, YouTube, all sorts of social media. You see it, and right. So the trumpet is sounding.
And this is Sister Yakora. She is 14 years old. So you've had several times that you've kept it. What does it mean to you now?
Very fun, because you're with family that you've known for many years, and you're just celebrating our family, our ancestors leaving Babylon out of captivity and everything.
Here with Brother Travis, and I want to know, how many years have you been in the truth, brother?
3 years.
That's about 3 years right there. That's awesome.
This is my third Feast of Trumpets. The real significance of Feast of Trumpets, because last year was a whole lot of stuff going on in the world.
Yeah.
With the hurricane, so it's blow the trumpets is the warning.
Yes.
So that's that.
So what do you think this warning is gonna be?
It's gonna be interesting to see.
Brother Mike, isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
All right, Brother Mike. How many years have you been in the truth?
You know what? I've been searching for a long time, but I think I'm coming up right about a year now.
Right about a year.
Right about a year
now. That is awesome,
yes,
man.
Sir.
All right. So then, is this your first? Feast of Trumpets, or
very first?
They're your very first. Okay, that's awesome.
And I'm excited. Boom,
so
boom, boom.
It hasn't officially, started. We don't have the feasting yet, but you're gonna enjoy it. Absolutely enjoy it.
I look forward to it. I know.
And I know next year, when you think back on this, you're gonna remember the experience you had. And we're here with Brother Joe. Brother Joe, how many years have you been in the truth?
As of today, probably I would say 3 years.
Wow.
In the truth. Yeah.
All right, 3 years. Now, every year that you've been in the truth, have you celebrated the Feast of Trumpets?
Yes, this is my third trumpets.
That's awesome, man. Now, what do you remember from the very first trumpets?
Trumpets, it was new. It's always enjoyable. Everything feels family oriented, family environment, and you feel like you're just close to people more so than actually your blood relatives.
Yeah. That's what you mean.
It was beautiful.
That's awesome.
I mean, I have nothing. It was better than the holidays that we grew up on.
Exactly.
Like seriously better.
Yeah.
I
feel you. All right. So with that, in mind, what do you expect for this Feast of Trumpets?
As always, the same. Just fellowshipping with brothers and sisters, enjoying time together, talking about how we made it, and we are able through the will of the Most High to see another trumpets.
That's right.
Every day is a blessing. We celebrating the days that are written of in the Bible, and through us growing up the traditions of men that we were taught, and to actually feel, in a sense, the connection that we have with the Most High in order of just doing things according to the scriptures.
That's right, man.
And it's just always enjoyable just to feel that feeling of you knowing that without a shadow of a doubt you're doing everything, right.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
In order. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.